Welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. Today we're going to be sitting down with Geoffrey, who's going to share his experience of adopting his daughter, as well as meeting the birth mother to his daughter for the first time. Now let's turn to Geoffrey. Hi Geoffrey, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
My husband Evan and I adopted our daughter Mika about 19 months ago. So she's an amazing toddler right now, running around and talking a lot. Yeah. We live in Brooklyn, working with Adoptions from the Heart. We knew we wanted to be a transracial adoptive family, which was a choice we made early on in that process. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of conversations around that, like what is that process going to be like? What is that going to look like with our family? We also live in an area of Brooklyn where it's a very racially and ethnically diverse area. And so we thought, no matter what our family looks like, is comprised of, it's going to, in some ways fit in with the culture that we live in the city. Great.
So when you adopted Mika, did you get to meet her birth mother?
We did. We met her birth mom in the hospital. And it was actually a very emotional and a beautiful meeting. And she's wonderful, and she's a wonderful part of our lives and Mika's life as well. But I remember there were like a few moments that were really touching in the hospital. One was when I don't know if we asked her, why didn't you choose us? And she said, well, I didn't choose you because you're gay. And we were like, okay, that's fine. She's like, I have no problem with that. But it's like, that's not why. I was like, okay, great. But I think instantly we knew, like, okay, this can be part of the conversation and the relationship. You just to talk about that, and like that's on the table. Mm-hmm. And then we also brought her something in the hospital, and in that there was some dark chocolate. And she was like, oh, dark chocolate, is that because of my skin? And we were like, no, it's not, we swear. And she was like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Right? So then instantly we were like, okay, so like this is part of the conversation. This is going to be our lives. Like we can have these conversations with her. Mm-hmm. It's not something to avoid as part of this.
Great. And so you guys are adopting again?
We are. We are currently waiting for our second adoption. And once again, the conversation is happening again, though slightly different, around transracial adoption. Mm-hmm. I think this time, we're having more of a conversation of before we had any children in our family, there was what our family looked like then. Mm-hmm. And we had, if we knew we were going to be open to different races and ethnicities then, we didn't know what that would look like. And now we do have our daughter who's African American, and we have other conversations now about, do we want to be open to any race or ethnicity, or do we want to just be open to an ethnicity or race that is, someone who could look like her.
Yeah.
And what is that dynamic going to be for her? What's that experience going to be for her sibling, and just as our family in general? So I think the conversation is continuing.
Yes.
It's taking on a bit of a different form at this point.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey, for sharing your experience. We're hopeful that this can help other families. If you think of any topics, feel free to let us know. Thanks so much, and tune in next week.